So what would you have changed? What would you have done differently if you'd been able to submit those decks, like, I don't know, the beginning of the week, with how much the meta changes?
Well, to be honest with you, my personal decks were adapted to a meta game that was, I would say, fairly limited to like the mana grind community as far as competition goes. So I was adapted to that meta game, but their decks, pretty much everyone else, nobody competed in the mana grind community. So their meta game was very different. So the decks that they had, I was not adapted against. So that didn't help. But if I could change stuff, there's a bunch of... I probably wouldn't even play the same classes. I would probably have gone for Warlock, Mage, and Paladin instead of Shaman, Mage, and Paladin. I think Warlock is a lot stronger than people give it credit for. I've been looking at a few deck ideas that I had in mind. I think going back home, I think I'm going to have a lot of decks to work on.
Now, speaking of mana grind, is there anything you learned over this process, some takeaways that maybe you want to take back to mana grind and help use in that whole system?
Well, I don't know if it was really in place back then, but practice groups is something I think we need to work on. Like maybe make 2 practice groups. It doesn't have to be just one of it. Like 5 or 6 players that just exchange deck ideas nonstop, play test nonstop. But they keep it to themselves, kind of. You know, they can exchange with other team members, but you try not to get those decks too far out there. So when a tournament actually comes up, then these decks take over. Now people after that, they know the deck list, but until then, you actually have a chance. So I think that's one of the things I'd like to maybe focus a bit more on.
So Artosis beat you 3-0, but he did go on to win the whole shebang. Now he has done some interviews since the big win, and they were asking him about his matches with you, and he said that they were pretty easy. Anything you want to say back to Artosis on that one?
No, I actually entirely agree, because every single move that I made, he had an answer to. And, he played Sword of Justice in his deck. I know he had some every single game with the Imp Master, so he was always flooding the board. I never got a Consecration. Like, he didn't get lucky entirely, because that's not the entirety of it. Like, the deck was really, really well built, but he drew like a god. Like, if I have to be honest with you, it felt like everything I did, I was getting shut down left and right. And that's card games for you in a nutshell. And I'm okay with it. I have no problems with it.
I was hoping for a little more trash talk. You guys are too friendly. That's not as much fun. I'm sorry. So, have you looked at any additional formats or tournament structures for, like, your tournaments for, like, mana grind? Do you think single elimination, you think currently that's what you're doing? That's the way to go, or maybe some other ways might be better to try out?
Well, if I have to be honest with you, like, this tournament was single elimination best of 5. I like this format. I wish it was double elimination with best of 5 with 3 different decks. I love the fact that you have 3 decks forces you to go beyond just playing one single deck. And the good thing is you can cover the weaknesses of one by putting another deck in that you're going to swap to if the first one loses. But there's also the fact that you can't go back to the deck that you lost with. That's a thing that I would change. Maybe allow me, if I play Paladin first and it dies to Priest, for instance, and then I beat the Priest with a Shaman for whatever reason, then let me go back to Paladin when I do lose with the Shaman, because it's kind of annoying the fact that you know that your Paladin deck could beat that next one that he's up, but you can't go back to it. You're forced into your third deck. That's something maybe I'd look into changing, but I personally, I think Swiss is the best card game format overall for mass tournaments, but it takes quite a while to set up. But double elimination, best of 5 for small tournaments or like top 8s, that'd be really interesting for me.
I have a feeling that the way that they did it with, like, moving through your decks was probably more to showcase the different heroes at this particular event than for a competitive, that's because they really just want to show it to all these people who don't have access to the beta. Now, if you could have anything you wanted to add to Hearthstone right now, what would it be?
Probably like everyone else. I don't know if you ask this question to anyone else, but it's got to be Spectator mode, #1, and in-game tournament lobbies where you can just get in there and, you join with random players that join the tournament, and there could be, like, they could actually keep track of your wins and losses, like your win-loss ratio. So it's like a different ladder where you could maybe get demoted, but it has to be kind of you must not get rewards out of it, because otherwise people would exploit this to their advantage. Like, you get in with your friends and they all lose on purpose. But I think in-game tournament lobbies and observer mode would be like the top things to add right now.
So, last question. This is a hard one. Our Hearthstone editor, Robert Wing, a.k.a. Zen Style. You versus him, who would be the winner?
Depends on the deck. Is that a good answer?
Trash talk!
That's like a philosopher's answer. It depends. Like, I don't know.
You gotta be like, I would kick his ass. I would
kick his ass. Definitely Zen Style. Watch out.
There you go. Thanks so much, Noxious. It was fun to watch you play. Sorry you got kind of your ass handed to you. All right.
Doesn't matter. I'm good sport, really. So yeah, thanks for having me here. Like that's just cool.
Thanks for your time.